This recording contains adults using adult language. Consider this your fair warning and enjoy.
But you have a couple of opportunities here to use some things. So you guys see these ships and whatnot. Can I get a... Does anyone have Scholastic Lore Tactical Imperialis or Common Lore War?
Yes,
I have both.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Is yours trained though?
Scholastic Lore in Tactical Imperialis is a easy check as opposed to the Common Lore War test. So plus 30 for Tactical Imperialis.
Go ahead and do your roll.
You guys can both do them if you like. See who does.
And if they're like the second block, like they're trained or whatever, you get a plus 10. Is that correct?
Trained means you get to use your entire characteristic level. Yeah, the next one will give it a plus 10.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool.
And then the one after that gives it a plus 20.
So how do I, like... See, that's where I get confused. How do I actually roll this specific... It's an intelligence roll. I haven't done this before.
What you'll do is you roll essentially a D100 and hope to God it's under your intelligence score. Or skill score, depending if it has the other pluses.
Is there a way to set it up to where like it automatically tells me degrees of success, though?
What Tuna did.
Okay, so Tuna's actually set up some...
And that's without the plus.
Alright.
Plus to it either, because it's a preset macro.
Okay, so Tuna's made macros. That is not necessarily expected of you. What you need to know is that degrees of success are very easy to calculate. It's your plus minus iterations of 10 for what you rolled under what was necessary. So if your skill in intelligence is 30 and this check is a plus 30 to it, that means you have to get under 60. For every 10 points you are under 60, you have an extra degree of success. For every 10 points you are above 60, you have a degree of failure. If you're within bracket, you have noticed degrees of success or failure, you get a partial.
Just roll a 1d100.
Roll a 3, so you probably have sizable amounts of degrees of success, and it looks like so does Armstrong.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you how many, or does it matter?
For this, it probably doesn't matter, because I'm telling you now, you guys probably blew this out of the water. And it's very obvious to the both of you, begrudgingly or not, you probably agree with one another, that these ships are doing something a bit odd. Instead of orbiting in a defensive and mutually supporting formation, the various warships are separated into small squadrons. Seems as though, if this is the formation they're planning on using, that each could be easily overwhelmed in an attack.
Dude, sorry, do we know like what types of ships these are? Like what race or anything like that?
They are Imperial.
Okay.
I wonder if we could find out who's in charge of the strategic planning here.
Yep, it's probably all things you guys wanted to figure out.
I might not.
Could we hail them?
I might not be the highest of war vets, but even this, I can tell, is ridiculous.
It is. You guys are given. So you guys were given essentially an orbit to put your ship in. When you guys do that, you're contacted by the commanding officer of the Sphinx landing starport, asking essentially like, why have you all arrived?
Captain?
We received a distress call from here.
Kind of a pause as if he's waiting for something else, and then
Tell
over
him
the
who.
Vox, and he's like, and you are.
How do we even how do we identify ourselves? Like as a rogue trader?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. I'm Regulus Drin. I'm a rogue trader here with my crew.
Okay. Well, in that case, we're definitely glad to have you. Unfortunately, due to a variety of circumstances, I can't give you a more formal introduction. Not that my standing would be of any concern of yours, in the sense that you probably deal with much more important people. He seems to all of a sudden kind of speed up, like he's like, okay, I'm talking myself into a hole. At this point, he goes, I'm going to send you the Vox coordinates to your ships so that you can land at the landing starport, and we'll have a member of the planetary governor's staff greet you in a more formal regard.
Alright.
Sounds fantabulous.
Awesome. Okay, in which case then, you guys will obviously, I assume, get on a shuttle and head on down to the planet, the coordinates that you were given. And we'll jump on the bandwagon at once.
Play Darth Vader cutscene.
Okay. Very well.
Like, do you want us to be giving like actions during this time? Like, I'm not sure if we've started everything yet.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Essentially, we are now playing, so please do give me as much feedback as possible as to what your characters are doing, be it actually following the story, scratching your nuts, or what have you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start clunking my ass over to the shuttle.
Armstrong would be giving out some basic commands as before they leave to make sure everything's in tip-top shape before they leave, and she wants certain things done before they get back, before heading off to the shuttle.
Anything in particular that I should be aware of, or is it just kind of like basic standard?
It's kind of basic of like make sure these things are up to date. I want this has been acting up. I want you just to clean it out.
Got it.
And basic commands of like go do something productive while we're gone.
I'm ensuring that the acting crew, while we're away, is up and running, functional, and they don't need anything before I leave.
Okay.
Malice will just, do like a final look over for like anything within like the navigations and all that, as he does, making sure everything's 100% functional before he leaves, and then he will follow along with.
Karen?
Seems to accompany. You typed it in the thing. Yeah, so go away for a second.
I think that's everyone.
Okay. You guys board your shuttle and seem to head down. You have obviously a pilot take you down. And as you step off your shuttle, the bright sun of midday on Mars, the ticking of metal can be heard as the ship cools from its landing. The smell of a promethium, the fumes of the ship fuel permeate the air. Scanning the area, you'd spot a ground car in the distance and a well-dressed man in adept's robes waiting beside it. You make eye contact with him, he smiles and beckons you to approach.
Well, 1 second before we continue. What planet did we just land on?
Mars.
Okay, I was missing that.
Okay, this has been a constant question, so that's the planet.
Mars. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Now we're getting somewhere.
As you all kind of close in on him, makes the sign of the Aquila and greets you. Oh, greetings, honored worthies of our Imperium. On behalf of the Honorable Belkin Kavak, Governor of the Imperial Allied World of Damaris, I welcome you to our home. My name is Joran Alexander, aide to Governor Kabak. I have been sent here at his request to transport you and your esteemed entourage to the Imperial Governor's Palace. I'm also to place myself at your disposal as a liaison for the duration of your stay. He seems to gesture towards the vehicle as the bid you all enter. Seems to have a moment where he's not sure if he should be extending this to the Adeptus Astartes in your presence. But
That
seems to shrug it off and wave you in regardless. Assuming that you would get on, of course, the ground car certainly creaks and cries out under the sheer weight.
Makes sense. The guy weighs like 1,400 pounds.
So all of you pile in?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys will kind of start going, he continues. The council has been called with the news of your arrival, and all the proper arrangements have been made for your accommodations in Damara City, until the matter at hand has been resolved. Seems to pause, then adds a little bit less formally. I'd also like to thank you for coming on behalf of myself and of my family. If there's anything you need or need to know about our planet at all, I can help as best I can. That said,
Is there any way you can start filling us in, giving us the status, the situation of the current planet going on?
of course, just one moment. He will also kind of go through. Did anyone bring any bags with them? Anything like that? This is the other character. I was wondering if anybody had brought anything that, like, essentially will be. There's a servitor or driver. It'll take your stuff essentially and put it into the trunk.
Nope.
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 nope. But I pass him a grenade. no. I'll
God.
keep it on me. I'll keep him on me.
Okay. So really quick, he's going to answer your questions, and we're definitely going to be talking about that because this car ride is actually quite long. Just to kind of give you guys a bit of a descriptor, the ground car itself is actually quite luxuriously appointed. A very smooth ride. It will take you to kind of the main part of the city as you guys are talking. So can I get that question one more time, Dren, if you don't mind?
Essentially, I wanted to say sit rep, but the status of the planet, what's going on, why we were called.
Perfect. Okay. So kind of get situated, offering drinks and whatnot to all those present. There's also a tray of smokes that's handed around. He kind of continues. Damaris is currently under threat of imminent invasion by an orc horde that was detected massing on a nearby system.
Damn filthy orcs.
Goddamn greenskins.
But their ships are red.
Seems to
Remain
nod
silent.
and gives a rather stern look to your Adeptus Astartes. Sorry, not your Astartes. Your Adeptus Mechanicus member.
So does
it's just
Malice.
Kind of burning out random shit. Then continues. It was the talented scouting of Captain Sylvia Locke of the Imperial Navy that discovered the horde. Governor Kapak petitioned the Imperial Navy for additional ships, but was unfortunately denied by Battlefleet Calixus on the basis that they are preparing their ships for a major exercise. Thus he sent out a general astropathic plea for aid. We have no true warships of our own, you see. However, there are several other rogue traders that have also answered our call and have brought their warships with them as well.
So essentially, you're wanting a direct assault on them.
More
I may-
so, we're trying
go
to
ahead.
form a defense.
Oh, so it's a defensive fleet.
Is there any sort of ETA that we have of any kind of imminent assault by these greenskins, or is this more preparation to the fact of a possibility? Essentially, what I mean is, like, is this something we need to worry about happening soon, or is this?
We don't know. It should be happening soon. We have no precise detail.
Well, what were you getting your intel from? Are they actually on their way here?
Actually, Captain Sylvia Locke is already returned and is currently on council. If
My
maybe
friends-
you didn't pick it up, by the way, really quick, sorry, Starscream. I'll definitely let you go over after this. You may not have picked up. He said that there is a council forming to kind of greet you, in a sense. And essentially, it's mentioned that she's on it. Go ahead, Starscream. Go ahead.
Just gonna say, my friends, I would suggest us doing the best to meet with the planetary governor and her military council to get an update on their status. This gentleman obviously doesn't seem to have an idea of what's really going on.
That's fine. And he seems to be taken slightly aback by that. He says, well, I mean, I've been given as much information as possible that is able to be handed to me. I certainly can answer more questions if you have them, but particulars might be best saved for your arrival at the council.
The sooner we kill those damn orcs, the better.
God. Yeah. Miles would probably, give him a quick look and just be like, "Do you know where they serve the best amnisac around here?"
He motions to one of the bottles in the car.
Fucking take some.
Okay. It's more
I will
certainly
also
there for
take a
use.
bottle and start tinkering it as a firebomb.
We're
Captain,
certainly
you may want to intervene.
more concerned.
Armstrong will just
looks.
kind of go over, grab the bottle, and put it back, and just give him a stern look.
Any other questions then for our?
Hey, know it all. Don't be messing around with the bottles like that.
I can't help it.
Better start learning too.
Are we able to gain any intelligence or just a general understanding of what the surface of the planet looks like? Maybe the temperature. Is there any plant life? Is it all mechanical? Like just buildings?
You're kind of asking.
Just like a general, like
planetary
what do we?
assets?
Yeah, what do we see as we're driving along? Like, is it just a like barren wasteland? Is there
No,
trees?
you're actually in a city right now. Quite massive, in fact. Let's see here if I can get you a better description of this. So you'd see kind of imposing Gothic edifices and statuary of local saints. One is very nice. One is very prominent of Saint Drusus road trip, seeing these at a variety of locations. Along the avenues you'd spot of the local magistratum officials. It's kind of a version of enforcers commonly found in the Calixus sector and a few civilized worlds of the Expanse. standing on corners, maintaining the peace. Well, the landscape seems orderly and civilized. The image is spoiled by haunted-looking civilians, the occasional boarded-up storefront, and levy units hard at work fortifying key positions. They seem to be doing so with blackboard and sandbags and what have you. The air of the city, as you are kind of going through it, feels charged with anticipation and anxiety as people prepare for what an orc invasion.
After hearing or going through that, I guess I would, and looking around, just say that to party members, I definitely think everyone is a little on edge here. We should take this seriously and try and find out as much as we can very quickly.
This car ride is going to take you guys for the better part of an hour or so. So, any other questions you have for Joran? I put his name in chat, so you guys can take note of that if you'd like.
Malice would actually want to ask about like he's already mentioned about how most of their warships are coming from other rogue traders, and what they have brought. His first question would be like, where is it most likely we would be able to converse with these rogue traders? Have they all been housed in a base barrack somewhere, or are they taken up into separate locations?
Actually, the Defense Council, which contains Governor Kapak, of course, has the rogue traders that you are curious of, Lady Orleans and Lord Blitz, as well as Captain Locke and General Dante of the Defense Force.
And aside from the shoring up of key positions and all that was mentioned before, what can you tell us of, like, the local PDF, or what kind of military presence you have here? Have warp forbid the greenskins should ever come planet side.
Well, as far as defenses, I mean, we do have a bit of a preemptive measure, which is the bulwark, which you surely saw on your approach. It orbits our world. It provides a powerful barrier against any hostile invaders. However, it is probably not as sufficient as that is why we set up the fleet. You could speak to General Dante as he's trying to determine the best way to deploy troops and other assets. However, from what I understand, he is finding it a bit difficult to do his deployments, as he has a bit of a distrust of the governor and the rogue traders. Perhaps
So
after arrival, a solution could be found. We are all in this together, yes?
Do I notice any obvious flaws in their defenses or anything?
From just passing by in the car, it would be near impossible to get a proper grasp on this.
Okay.
This would be something most certainly that you could see with like some kind of over, like
At
a layout,
orbital readout.
That would be fine. I'm trying to think of a like almost like a holographic display of like the defenses, which certainly exist.
Probably or I should say, Malice would probably say, like, most likely at the council they'll probably have some form of a readout we can get a look at. I'm sure, even though their organization of the spaceships up in orbit, not all too well of my opinion of them, they surely could not be incompetent enough to not allow us to know what setups they have had in the event of an attack.
With that being said, a couple of data slates are kind of handed out by Joran. On them, we'll see, have a map of the Mars city. You'll want to take a look at this for a moment, as you can kind of get some of your information on what is contained, and of course, you're welcome to ask him any questions you may have. in the map itself.
First question I'm going to have for Jordan is, what is kept at Shard's Forge, Jordan?
Shard's Forge. One moment. One of those moments I read is in here. I gotta find. Ah, here we go. This is the map in the book. Thank you. Shard's Forge. It would be like the one thing that this thing doesn't mention at all.
Well, just so you know, the main reason I'm asking is obviously detached from the main defenses of the city. So I want to know if there's something important there we should defend or acquire before the orcs make it there.
Believe what I've read before, though I don't have it here. The forge is, as you might assume, kind of a manufactorum, like a factory district. I don't have much more than that to give you at this moment. I apologize.
That's fair. You can ask questions to the general once we arrive.
I would want to get a bit of clarification from him. The darker lines, as much as I can tell, the outer one is the outer walls. So now, for moving from sector to sector within here, do they have gated walls that could be used to close these off in case of a need to separate certain areas, or are they more of a passageway, almost bottlenecking type openings?
They most certainly can be closed. They are gated.
So I don't know about you, friends, but it seems to me as much as we possibly can, we want the orcs to, if they do in fact attack the city, come from the south. So as we're talking to the general, once we arrive, we should try and formulate a battle plan to say that.
At the industrial infrastructure there?
You've got the Enforcer Fortress, training fields, whereas on the northern half of the city you've got planetary infrastructure, their starport, and all of their industrial sector, to include Shard's Forge, which is not within the walls. And it's going to be extremely hard to defend against the orc horde. So
yeah, I didn't see the inner industrial infrastructure before. Yeah, fair enough.
Any other questions for Joran, or are you guys essentially just riding out the car ride?
Just riding it out.
Are you all riding out, or does anyone else have questions?
Well, I want to know where exactly on the southern wall there are access points. Does each sector have an access point to the outside? That could be complicated.
And the last question I would have before we finish the car ride is, what kind of scale is this? If you could say a diameter for the city, what would that be?
Here. I think of a good way to describe this to you.
I'm guessing those small little squares are buildings, right? But
yes. Very, very large. Fortunately, I'm not given actually any measurements here to actually give you guys.
So probably 10 to 15 kilometers across, maybe.
We can just assume that the planetary governor is a little bit inept. Didn't get the proper information as needed.
That's probably quite accurate. I would say that's probably a fair assumption to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember any description of planetary governors before, there's usually a lot of them have a family that's used to the forms of inbreeding, which can end up not, having a lot of mental insufficiencies compared to, a normal human being of sorts. Sometimes they can be fairly inept when it comes to actually making the calls when they need to be made.
So
Sometimes
they're
they,
useless
and
bags of flesh, is what you're saying.
usually they make things worse long before they could ever get close to making anything better.
Saying that, like, is your character just saying that?
No, that was me like explaining like why I was trying to say like, these guys probably inept.
No, just like, are you saying it out loud in the car with
Yeah,
her?
that's what I'm asking. Are you saying that?
I will, but I would make sure to stay at the beginning, It has been my experience with planetary governors, obviously
Irregardless
excluding
of
those in present company.
yeah. Pause. He will look at you strange because that is fucking weird to say. And he doesn't. He has the wherewithal to know not to comment on that, and just kind of goes, ah. And okay, barring any other questions.
Let's finish this car ride, boys.
Okay.
I'd make sure to take another sip of his amnesac.
So you will all arrive at the governor's palace. It's certainly of magnificent construction. So it would probably pale, even if just slightly, to the shrine that you would have likely passed. The palace itself, though, has massive colonnades of white marble and bronze dome towers. Stands out from the other more functional buildings around it. As the ground car comes scraping along the entrance, you are escorted inside. The interior of the structure is extraordinarily appointed. Rich burgundy carpeting lines the floors and complements the subtle creme colors used for the walls. Each hallway is decorated in the typically Baroque imperial style common to many core imperial worlds. Others are adorned with pictures and murals depicting various events from both the Imperium and presumably the planet. Every few meters, a lot of you will find alcoves holding bronze busts of famous imperial heroes and saints, their deeds described in flickering holographic projections under their pedestals. Eventually, you're brought before a set of carved wooden doors, flanked by two palace guards. As you get closer to the doors, you can easily hear the sounds of yelling from behind them. The guards ask surreptitious looks amongst themselves as the argument inside increases in pitch. Jorin kind of briefly speaks with one of the guards in a hushed tone and turns to you all and seems actually quite embarrassed by the apparent situation. But I apologize. I was told the defense council was in recess until your arrival. I really must apologize for this insult. It seems the council has decided to convene without your presence. Please excuse me, this is a terrible breach of protocol. And with that said, he turns to the doors and opens them.